Imagine your brain is screaming, but you cannot hear it yet. Within hours of your last drink, a chemical alarm system you did not even know existed can start flipping its switches. For some people, stopping alcohol means a clearer morning. For others, especially people whose bodies are dependent on alcohol, it can mean shaking hands, a racing heart, sleepless nights, confusion, seizures, and a medical emergency that can begin around the first 6 to 12 hours. This is a science breakdown, not medical instruction. If someone drinks heavily every day or gets withdrawal symptoms when they stop, quitting suddenly can be dangerous and should involve medical support. Tap and subscribe to Dark Truth, because what alcohol does after the last drink is not what most people imagine. Day 0. The last drink. You put the glass down. Nothing explodes. Nothing flashes red. You may even feel normal. That is what makes alcohol so deceptive. Inside your body, cleanup begins. Your liver breaks alcohol into acetaldehyde, then acetate, then eventually water and carbon dioxide. Acetaldehyde is toxic and irritating. But the bigger story is in the brain. Alcohol slows your nervous system. It strengthens calming signals and suppresses excitatory signals. If alcohol keeps arriving again and again, the brain adapts by turning up its internal alarm system. Now picture a machine. For months, maybe years, alcohol has been pressing down on the brake. Your brain responds by pushing harder on the accelerator. Then you stop drinking. The chemical brake disappears. But the accelerator is still pushed down. That is the snap. That is the hidden switch. And this is where two people enter two different stories. One person drinks once or twice a week. Their body may be irritated and tired, but their brain is usually not physically built around alcohol every day. Another drinks heavily every night. Their brain, sleep, stress hormones, heart rate, blood pressure, and mood may have adapted to alcohol being there. Both stop. One body says, "Finally, recovery." The other says, "Something is missing. Sound the alarm." The first 6 to 12 hours. For the occasional drinker, this may be quiet. Alcohol levels fall. Judgment clears. The liver keeps doing chemical cleanup. But if the last drinking session was heavy, the body may still feel punished. Dry mouth, churning stomach, aching head, and sleep that looked normal from outside, but was not real recovery. Here is the part most people get wrong. Alcohol can make you fall asleep faster, but it can disrupt the second half of the night and make the morning feel like your brain was never fully repaired. So when someone says, "Alcohol helps me sleep," the body may be saying, "No, it helped you switch off. That is not the same thing as restoration." Now switch to someone physically dependent on alcohol. Around 6 to 12 hours after the last drink, withdrawal symptoms can begin. Hands may tremble, pulse may rise, sweat may appear in a cool room. Anxiety can climb for no visible reason, and the person may think, "I need a drink to feel normal." But that is the dark truth. Alcohol may no longer be making them feel good. It may only be silencing a nervous system that has become too activated without it. Day 1. The first full day without alcohol can feel like two different worlds. For a non-dependent social drinker, day 1 may feel like recovery. Hydration improves. The stomach gets a break. The liver no longer has to prioritize alcohol. But you may still feel tired or sleep-deprived. Now look at the alcohol-dependent heavy drinker. Day 1 can be the beginning of real danger. The brain has been compensating for alcohol's sedating effect. Without alcohol, excitatory signaling can surge. Restlessness, sweating, shaking, insomnia, a pounding heartbeat, anxiety bigger than the situation. And then comes the question that matters. When does discomfort become danger? When the brain's electrical activity becomes unstable. Alcohol withdrawal seizures can occur, especially in the first 8 to 48 hours after stopping in people with dependence. That does not happen to every heavy drinker. But sudden withdrawal after dependence should never be treated casually. At this point, alcohol is no longer just a drink. For some bodies, it has become part of the operating system. Day 2. This is where the story becomes unpredictable. For some non-dependent drinkers, day 2 may bring the first obvious reward. The stomach feels calmer. Energy may feel steadier. The morning may feel cleaner. Not because the body is perfect, because one major disruptor has been removed. But for a dependent heavy drinker, day 2 can be one of the highest risk windows. The brain and body are trying to rebalance calming signals, excitatory signals, blood pressure, heart rhythm, temperature regulation, stress hormones, and sleep, all at once. Some people may experience hallucinations, agitation, or a racing heart while sitting still. And here comes the twist. Stopping alcohol can make someone feel worse before they feel better. That sounds backwards, but biologically, it makes sense. The damage is not caused by stopping. The chaos is revealed by stopping. Alcohol was covering the alarm. Now the body can finally hear it. So if someone says, "I stopped and felt terrible, so alcohol must have been helping me," the body says, "No, it was hiding how hard I was working." If you have ever noticed your sleep, mood, or energy change after taking a break from alcohol, comment one word: sleep, mood, or energy. Day 3. For the occasional drinker, day 3 may feel quietly powerful. Fewer emergency chores, calmer digestion, sharper mornings, and steadier mood. But alcohol can become a cue. Friday night means drink. Stress means drink. Celebration means drink. Loneliness means drink. Now for someone with severe alcohol dependence, day 3 can be much more serious. Delirium tremens, often called DTs, can appear in a minority of people with severe alcohol withdrawal. It often develops around 48 to 96 hours after the last drink, but timing can vary. This is not just the shakes. It can involve confusion, agitation, fever, severe disorientation, high blood pressure, and a dangerously overactive nervous system. This is where physiology becomes emergency medicine. The autonomic nervous system, which manages heart rate, sweating, blood pressure, alertness, and temperature, can surge out of control. Imagine driving a car for years with one foot on the brake and one foot on the accelerator, then the brake vanishes. That is severe withdrawal inside the nervous system. Day 4 to day 7. For a non-dependent drinker, the body is simply getting fewer insults. The stomach lining is under less irritation. Sleep may deepen. Resting heart rate may feel steadier. But the brain may still whisper, "One drink would make this easier." That whisper does not prove alcohol is needed. It may be the reward system remembering a shortcut. For the dependent drinker under proper medical care, the most acute withdrawal symptoms may begin to ease during this period. But for others, symptoms can last longer. This is where the body moves from emergency mode into repair mode. But repair is not instant. The brain's reward system has to relearn ordinary pleasure: food, sunlight, exercise, conversation, and deep sleep. For non-dependent drinkers, one alcohol-free week can expose something uncomfortable. Maybe your normal tiredness was not normal. Maybe Sunday anxiety was not just work stress. Maybe alcohol had been stealing recovery in small pieces. For the heavy dependent drinker, week 1 is about stabilizing. Sleep may still be broken. Emotions may swing hard. Anxiety can remain high. Energy can return before the mind feels safe. A person may feel physically clearer but emotionally exposed. Alcohol was not only affecting the liver, it was affecting stress response, reward, memory, impulse control, and emotional regulation. That is why "just stop" is such a weak phrase. The body is not a light switch, it is a control room. Week 2. This is where the story becomes less dramatic but more powerful. The gut may feel calmer. Skin may look clearer if sleep and hydration improve. Alcohol calories disappear. But the biggest change may be invisible. The liver gets breathing room. If alcohol has caused early fatty changes in the liver, abstinence can allow improvement. But if someone has advanced alcohol-related liver disease or cirrhosis, some damage may not fully reverse. Recovery depends on the starting point. And here is the danger for the heavy drinker. The brain starts negotiating. You proved you can stop, so one drink should be fine. But the brain remembers patterns. Stress returns. Social pressure returns. Old cues return. The real question is not, do you have willpower? The better question is, what system did alcohol build around your stress, your sleep, and your reward? Week 3. Now the heart enters the story. Heavy drinking can raise blood pressure over time. Reducing or stopping alcohol may help blood pressure improve for some people. Alcohol can also contribute to abnormal heart rhythms, especially with heavy drinking or binge drinking. This is where the old, healthy drinking idea starts to crack. Alcohol is not a vitamin. It is a psychoactive drug with body-wide effects. Alcohol is linked with increased cancer risk, and the risk generally rises as intake increases. Week 4, 1 month. This is where many people expect a full reset. But the body gives a more honest answer. For a light or occasional drinker, 1 month without alcohol may mean better sleep quality, better training recovery, fewer empty calories, and more stable energy. For a previously dependent heavy drinker, 1 month can be a major milestone, but not the end of recovery. Sleep, mood, cravings, and reward signals may still be recalibrating. But something important has changed. The body is no longer spending every day adapting to alcohol. The gut is no longer being irritated in the same cycle. The liver has less chemical workload. The brain is no longer being sedated at night and shocked back into alertness later. Normal life starts to feel sharper. Food tastes stronger. Mornings feel longer. Emotions feel less numb. Stress feels more real, but also more readable. Your body is reporting back without alcohol editing the signal. Month 2 and beyond. For someone who drank occasionally, the benefits may be mostly lifestyle and performance. Better sleep, better gym recovery, fewer wasted mornings, and more stable mood. For someone who drank heavily for a long time, deeper repair may continue for months. Some changes can reverse, some may only partially improve. Some need professional treatment. That is the truth. Not dramatic, not fake, not a miracle, but powerful. Because when alcohol is removed, the body gets a chance to stop defending itself and start repairing. So what really happens when you stop drinking alcohol? In the first hours, your liver clears the chemical load. In the first days, your nervous system reveals whether alcohol was just a drink or a dependency. In the first week, sleep, mood, digestion, and stress systems begin to recalibrate. By the first month, many people realize alcohol was not only changing their nights, it was changing their mornings, their heart, their brain, their skin, their energy, and their sense of control. The dark truth is not that stopping alcohol instantly fixes everything. The dark truth is that alcohol may have been changing far more than you felt while you were drinking it. And when you stop, your body finally gets to speak without being silenced. Tap and subscribe to Dark Truth for more science breakdowns of what really happens inside your body.